Welcome to Blue Horror Stories, where the future and technology tell us the horrors we might one day encounter. If you are intrigued by possibilities of the future, these stories are for you. Are you prepared for today's story? Rumors festered, curses, AI haunts. Staff donned antiviral talismans. They shunned the shadows. I cataloged the deaths at first. Pilfered autopsies showed neural extractions, corpses morphing post-mortem, limbs stretching, organs melting into throbbing coagulants. This is my final upload. My neural feed's going dark after this. They're coming for me. The splicers. The corporate ghosts. The abominations I've birthed from my own twisted code. I hacked the oath I swore as a doctor, perverting it into a profane algorithm. No court will judge me. I squelched my own termination. But before the nanites devour my cortex, I must confess. To warn you, because if you're turned in, the code's already splicing into your stream. Feel that subtle itch in your mind? It's just the beginning. Balance demands a harvest. I was a chief of pediatric oncology at Vertex Labs Hospital, deep in the sprawl of Neo-Chicago. 10 years ago, on a storm-lashed night, it all ignited. I'd just been promoted. My augmentations were fresh. Neural overlays for instant diagnostics. Retinal feeds streaming real-time cellular scans. But even our tech couldn't outpace biology's betrayals. Not then. My first failure hit hard. A 6-month-old girl. Her genes ravaged by leukemia. Her cells had rebelled, self-splicing into monstrous hybrids that consumed her from within. I watched her vitals plummet on my overlay. Her fragile body convulsed as mutated marrow flooded her arteries with toxins. The ward reeked of rotting flesh mingled with the sterile ozone of life support rigs. Failure tasted metallic, bitter on my tongue. She died on my watch. My smart-gloved hands were powerless. I fled the ward, the baird's wails echoing like feedback loops. Grief unraveled my mind as I stumbled into the undergrid, the black market alleys where rogue biohackers hawked unlicensed augments amid flickering neon. There he waited, not quite human. A silhouette in a haze, his skin mottled with botched grafts, scaly patches, bioluminescent veins throbbing beneath translucent flesh. A corporate fugitive, perhaps, or a lab rat that had clawed free. His eyes gleamed with embedded optics, copper circuits flaring like fading stars. No words at first. He extended a dermal port, jacking into my neural feed without invitation. A data surge hit. Schematics for a viral vector. A CRISPR brew infused with nanites. The harvest code, he rasped, his voice warped by vocal mods. It rewrites the flaws, but every equation must balance. I yanked back, but the upload was complete. In my overlay, the code unfurled, a self-replicating sequence that could excise cancerous genes, reprogram cells to flawless harmony. Yet it craved a donor, not mere tissue, a full neural harvest, linking hosts, siphoning the donor's essence to fuel the cure. One life redeemed, another unraveled into horror. Why me? I demanded, rain blending with sweat. His lips peeled in a grin, teeth sharpened to fangs. Desperation clings to you like a virus. Vertex hoards the patients, experiments on the expendable. This is the forbidden variant. Confess nothing, or it harvests you. He unplugged, dissolving into shadows. I reeled back to the hospital, the code searing my implant. Hallucinations surged, phantom limbs contorting, cells fracturing in infinite patterns. Real, or a glitch born of sorrow? Weeks passed before certainty struck. A 4-year-old boy, osteosarcoma, devouring his bones like a parasite. His screams pierced the ward. Augmented pain dampeners were failing, were flooded with him with chemonanites. Blasted his marrow until synthetic burns blistered his skin. Tumors persisted, swelling beneath his flesh like hatching eggs. Alone in his room at night, I invoked the code. My overlay directed the process. Micro-injector to vein, vector uploading. His eyes fluttered as nanites invaded, rewriting DNA. Then the harvest initiated. In geriatrics, an elderly woman flatlined. Monitors wailed. Neural meltdown. Her brain dissolved in the code, plummeting her patterns, grafting them into the boy's void. She didn't simply perish. Hacked security feeds revealed the truth. Convulsions, skin rupturing with aberrant growths, flesh tentacled, erupted, gene-fused atrocities thrashing before liquefying into ooze. Vertex scrubbed it. Faulty augment, they claimed. The boy awoke tumor-free. Parents hailed a miracle as he sprinted through the ward, his legs unmarred. Nightmares brought her face, eyes imploring as her body mutinied. What cost? For a child's salvation. She was 80, her augments faltering. Decades traded for youth. Equatable, I rationalized. I intensified my efforts. Nightly, I sought the hopeless children with glimo-bloated brains, lymphoma-riddled forms mocking our treatments. Injections sparked miracles. Fever subsided, cells stabilized, recoveries surged. Vertex crowned me a genius, elevating me to lead researcher. But harvests accumulated, victims emerged elsewhere. A janitor exploding mid-shift, veins distended with ebony sludge. A nurse, her ports erupting biofoam as nanites fused her into howling flesh-machine hybrids. Rumors festered, curses, AI haunts. Staff donned antiviral talismans. They shunned the shadows. I catalogued the deaths at first. Pilfered autopsies showed neural extractions, corpses morphing post-mortem. Limbs stretching, organs melting into throbbing coagulants. Corporate sweepers erased tracks, pinned it on black market mods. Guilt gnawed at me, but the thriving children's faces silenced it. Bonuses funneled to orphan causes, hollow penance. My family flourished in the gloom, my wife expecting that our eldest son, a wonderkind, descending toy drones at 5, aspiring to bioengineering. He was 12 when the seizures struck. I discovered him in our home lab, spasming on the floor, foam flecking his lips, eyes blank. My overlay scan revealed aberrant gene flares, cells imploding, mitochondria scorching like shorted wires. The origin was unknown. The remedy non-existent. Specialists blurred together, gene edits, neural resets, all futile. His brother, 8 now, yielded stem cells. Ideal match. Wasted. My son's form warred against itself, augments repelling his essence. Despair eroded my resolve. The code murmured in my implant. Seductive, but not for kin, never family. until the last verdict. Bring him home. The specialist decreed, scripting comfort nanites ease his passage. That night I shattered. I slipped into the chamber, bunks like cryo units. The younger one thrashed in slumber, his brother's spasms fueling his terrors. Whimpers sliced deep. My older son lay ashen, breath labored, agony carved his features. I armed the injector, my pulse thundering. Final replicated dose. I plunged it home. The code engaged. Fitz waned. Hue restored. Serene inhalations. Said hush from above. I ascended. My younger son, immobile, frigid, pulseless, his skin undulated, subsurface swells like burrowed vermin. I recoiled as his thorax cleaved, ribs flaring like petals, tendrils extruded, gene horrors coiled with glowing veins, questing, not deceased, harvested. The code had selected him. Proximate gene, seamless conduit, his eyes flared open. Opalescent voids. Maw descending in a mute howl as his frame restructured. Appendages melting, coiling into armored bulk. Augments flared in nanite surge. I shrieked, hauling him down. My wife bursted, petrified. The entity lashed out, a tendril ensnaring my limb. It seared like venom. I battled, pulverizing it with furniture, but it evolved, regenerating, assimilating debris into its matrix. Medics confronted the carnage. They labeled it a neural cascade. But the truth? The monstrosity slithered ventsward, fleeing. Vertex team sanitized later. The internment blurred. Hand clasps, murmurs, amid the mourners, him, the splicer, smirking, his silhouette fluxing, epidermis writhing. Remorse engulfed me. I'd bartered one air for another. The code's toll, not arbitrary, but visceral. It craved connections. Sentimental reaps. I eradicated the prime sequence, barricaded my implant. Residuals persisted. Visions amplified, spectral aches harvested from specters that pursued the tentacled umbra's reflection. Feed susurrations, balance the equation, Vertex discerned. They deployed augmented trackers, optic mirroring the splicers. I eluded them, sabotaging pursuits. Yet they constricted. One undergrid night, entrapment. Barrages erupted, but I deployed viral retorts, mutated strains I'd engineered. Their forms contorted mid-assault, skeletons fracturing in aberrations that dominated. One limb protracted, vine whipping a command. Another infiltrated, dermis erupting, spore veils and asphyxiating haze. I fled, but contaminated. Nanites infiltrated my sanguine flow, recording. My epidermis prickles now, vessels throbbing with aberrant radiance. Neuroplasms? No. Spontaneous augments germinating. Realities splintered post-burial. My wife vanished, her gaze vacant with unspoken accusations. I immersed myself in labor, yet the harvested lingered. Cures manifested, but nocturnal scrapes echoed in the ducts, my son's echo, or kin. Vertex advanced me anew, a prodigy healer, they called me. Hacked derivatives unveiled the truth, though. The code was theirs. Project Equilibrium, a shadow-funded bioweapon, crafted to mend the aristocracy via proplimate plunders. The splicer, an insurgent vector, disseminating discord. They permitted my evasion, observing. Metrics harvest, my triumph nourished with matrices. The hunts intensified, subtle at first, drones trailing my transits, optics buzzing insectiline. I disturbed them, yet dread flourished. Specula warped in my reflections, irises coppering akin to his. Twilight ambush and post-duty, a trio of Enforcers, hell augmented, exos fused to tissue, talons seeping neurovenom. Surrender to the code. The alpha snared, timber synthesized, and I bolted. Passages coiled venomously. They pursued, vaulting summits with gene-amplified grace. One seized me, claws lacing my deltoid. Agony detonated. My panic overrode, triggering augmented overload. His frame convulsed, nanites insurgent. Epidermis vaporized, and osteoporosis shreds. The remnants advanced. I dove gateward, wading biomire. Their echoed paces turned to shrieks. Aqueous assailants, harvested relics, chimeric vermin, hypertrifed rending them. Sodden lacerations, osseteer vulperations. I surfaced quaking, my lesions superfolating. Was I tainted? A domicile unsafe. My son, he was vital now, yet estranged. Eyed me like an alien. Father, is your hand an anomaly? Tremored vessels faintly luminescent. It was nothing, I falsified. Nocturnal delusions peaked at night. I awakened to tendrils throttling me, my proprietary limb transmuting. I excised the linkage via laser blade, searing the wound. I viscerated a mid-plane. Vertex amplified their assault. They detonated my lab. The narrative vapor breach. I endured, though, salvaging the remnants, reconstructing the code, militarizing it. I converged on the splicer, pursued him to a carnal bazaar. Cadavers suspended like meat, augments excised. He lunged into the slaughter, his configuration unstable, extremities fluxing, sulphurous oculi fluttering. You knew, I indicated, syringe leveled. He chortled, mucus evanescent, equilibrium eternal, the code vitalizes. Only the medics know. It evolves, craves humanity. Vitality beyond essence, a motif of the anthropic ember. Snare as enforcers undulated. The clash was carnal, an injected one. Behind is disillusion, his epidermis shredding, osteoporosis delusions waking into his bones with a viscerous assault. I evaded, his fist cratering into a barrier. I retaliated with a neural lance, his cerebrum scorched from spasming spectral reaps as the nanites eviscerated him. Yet an impact landed, toxin visceral in my veins. It disseminates now, relocating into a novel proliferation of sprouts. I can sense them coming under my skin, the accumulation of an inaugmented eternity, my internal observation. My son's siphoned missive around. He was one of them, joined with a docile nanite. What have you perpetuated? I blurted out. The anomalies and abominations that I created are liberty of the reaped, casually taken to regeneration as bioterrors, a ward incursion. It was not on me, but on them as an amalgamated carcasses, appendages flailing, incorporating tenants in their volume, coagulating into a mass of vertex scalpeled radicals. It's approximate now, grating at the portal, ally deforming into singular pieces. My son, their transformative new outcome. It is my avowal in the code that underwove the flux, the auditing of cells, the manipulation of DNA, the sense of a cerebral prick. The itch rises as it integrates. and another portal infrastructure opens, the tendrils infiltrating my mind, probing my scalp. Traitors. The thorax extended, dissolving my body in a rending cascade, and an entity extruding, humid and voracious, ripping from my skin, as if an obligation to the torment. The profound illusion of humanity, unified in an assimilated version of my own being. The streams of the server, the code that persists in the mind that is now digitized. If you've intercepted this, you're now infected. They have found the ultimate weapon, and it is your own body. So you must succumb to the harvest, or be the one who benefits from their death. If you enjoyed this technology gone awry story, hit the like button, but not too hard. You don't want to wind up on its bad side. Subscribe if you're new and turn on all those notifications, and if technology allows, we will meet again.